There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Supercheap Auto East Coast V8 Series. I'm John Van Ree. Tonight we are coming from the one and only Road America, and with me to call all the action is Mark Dial. How are you, Mark?
Mark Duggan, but that's
Duggan.
okay, John. No, I'm great, mate. I love this track. I've been fortunate enough to have some great races around here, and also fortunate enough to spectate some great races. So really looking forward to this one. I always think this place produces some top-notch racing.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what the boys can do around this place. As it's gone quiet for a minute. Just trying to pick up where a few of these guys are on track. Just bear with me for a minute as they're coming around. Just going to turn that graphic off. Let's have a quick look at this track while we're talking about it. These boys on their outlap. So Road America, fairly long circuit, quite well used in America, out at Elkhart Lake. And the guys start on the Road America straight and they run into turn one, a fast sweeping right-hand corner, and then we go through the slight kink at 2 down into the slower third corner, and then we go all the way down through the moraine sweep into the hard downhill turn 5, where you really got to pull the car up and get good power to go up the hill through turn 6. And then we swing up down through the hurry downs through 7 and 8 and around into the big carousel, where you got to be patient and wait and wait and wait. And then followed by that, we then come back up into the kink at turn 11, one of the hard, fast corners on the circuit, down through the forestry area, through Kettle Bottoms, down to Canada Corner, and up through the Thunder Valley, through Bill Mitchell Bend, and then through turn 14, and up the long hill to the start-finish line. It's a tough circuit. It'll be so what these boys can do here.
Yeah, absolutely, John. It's a great mix, this place. It's got lots of technical aspects, some fast-flowing stuff. Yeah, like very, very difficult circuit to nail on a lap. Lots of corners, a long way around, and these boys won't have long to play around to get a lap in, because slow out lap, qualifying lap, and then an in lap, and then you're not going to have too much time to get a second or third run in.
No, you're definitely not. Quickly on the replay already, Dave Coleman, he's already buggered turn 1. As you're saying, a long way around. He's going to have to go and do it all again. A little bit unlucky for Dave. There's a few boys coming now through the back half of the circuit. The hurry down section, heading up into that area. So very tough. Simon Mesmo, one of the first ones, already set a green sector. The 9.5 Sim Sports driver. Running around through the carousel. Keep an eye on him. And while we're keeping an eye on him, we might just have a quick look at the championship. We'll start with the split 2 boys, the Super 2 lads. Craig Schultz is leading that on 871 points from Dave Coleman on 836 and Ash Borella on 814. So a couple of boys from last week have been reshuffled back into the order. That was Maguire and Dent. They're both being classified as split 1 drivers. That's why they don't see them on the list. And then we're going to have a quick look at the pro drivers. Jordan Ross leading the series still. Just remember, no drop rounds are counted in this yet. So Jordan Ross on 867, Tom Freya 829, War Boys 812, Freeman 8:06. Then we have Kirby at 7:41. James Scott sitting at 7:30, who's missed a race. So that'll correct itself a bit. I think we'll see James Scott up near the top if he doesn't miss any more races. Hobson sitting in 7th, who's away tonight. Mulford in 8th. Damien Johnstone sitting in 9th, and Jamie Dyke rounding out our top 10. But the times are coming in. Jordan Ross just gets across for the 2:04.685. So the man we're just talking about leading the series, already in the action.
Yeah, good lap there from Jordan. As you know, John, and our spectators as well, plenty of drafting available on this track with several big long straights. So getting a good tail here is critical.
Oh, absolutely. You need to make the most of it. And you're really seeing James Scott now just knock it onto the top. Brian Borg, Blake Warboys. So a few lads here starting to set some fast times. So keep an eye on what these lads can do.
Yeah, James Scott on top. Great lap from Blake Warboys as well. He's just over a tenth behind James. So good marker there for Blake. And Brian Borg hasn't been with us for quite a few rounds now, but he's set a good lap as well. So good to have Brian back.
Yeah, Borgie, quite well-known driver. Been around the V8's in the Australian community for a very long time, and knows how to steer a Mustang, as these boys, probably all on their in-lap at the moment. So just keeping a bit of a close eye. Might go back a little bit further down the order. Craig Schultz in the top 10. That's a great effort from the man leading the Super 2 series, followed by Smart in 11, Rigby in 12, and I know Rigby's been putting a fair bit of time in practicing this week. Hopefully we'll see some big improvements in the next round as we go through. Of course, the clock's now about to tick over 7 minutes, so that you don't really get too much time. Boys will get one more lap, I think. So Ross in pit lane, Whiting, Jones, Schultz, Rigby, Sheedy, McDonald, Kirby and Borella, all in the pits.
Yeah, it's a very slow out lap here, John, to preserve them tyres for your flyer. So that's what makes it very difficult to get more than probably 2 laps in tonight, I would imagine.
Yeah, you got to make the most of it. Got to be very careful. We see Borgie coming into the pits. Troy Maguire. It's on track here. I think he's about to go in as well. So basically going to have the whole field coming in at the moment. Chris Blanchard, he'll be heading in as well, I think. So of course, Track Light Radio America accommodates this quite well. Adam Briggs has jumped in the server, so Briggsy's on track. Have to keep an eye on Briggsy. He hasn't set a time yet, so I'm not sure whether the other one next there. Tom Freer, hasn't set a time either, so just keep an eye on these two lads. See if they jump up in. As it looks like a few of them are starting to roll again on their outlap, taking that slow line.
Yeah, Craig Shields from 95 Sim Sports, he's really done a great job so far this season managing his Super 2 championship, and he's sitting inside the top 10, so great effort from Craig at the moment. And yeah, like I said, he's done a superb job managing his season so far.
Yeah, just cruising around. At the moment, let's talk about these slow laps. It's really important to get that tyre preservation right. Can't afford to cook your tyres on that outlap. And you've got to be careful not to go too slow, because you can get penalised for that as well. So it's a fine line to balance on the outlap. Interesting, Jordan to be one of the first ones out. So they're all on it. Interesting to see. And we'll just definitely let it all roll along at the moment. Heading down now through Kettle Bottoms, very tight foresty area, coming down into the famous Canada Corner. Corner that got its name from the first race meeting at the circuit, where the crew cleaning up complained about all the Canadian cigarette and beer bottles that were left down on that corner. That's how the corner got the name, Canada Corner. A little fun fact for the night, Mark.
Yeah, all good on the Canadians for showing their commitment to motorsport in the US.
Let's see what Jordan Ross, our championship leader, can do here. He is flying into turn one. Looks like he's got Michael Whiting, the big fish, tucked up behind him from Fishy Motorsports. So all battling away. Jordan, nice exit there.
Yeah, he's done a good job so far on this lap. We've only got four minutes left to run, so by the time they execute this lap and get an in lap, they're not going to get another one, so they really need to nail this one.
And it's a track you don't want to be caught too far down the pack as the start. Turn 1 and turn 3, or turn 2. That initial instant coming down the hill can catch quite a few guys out at the start of this place. It's not uncommon to see a large accident in the supercars. Hopefully tonight the boys will all get through.
Yeah, turn 1 especially, we've seen plenty of incidents there over the years, and yeah, like you say, hopefully we can get through the first 2 corners and set ourselves up for a great race.
And Jordan a little bit twitchy as he comes through. To the kink now, down through Kettle Bottoms. Well, looks like he's got some good pace about him. A couple of yellow sectors for the first 2 though, so he's going to have to do a lot of work here to get it up. What can he do? Our championship leader. Using all the track coming out of Canada, coming up through Thunder Alley. Through Bill Mitchell. To the final corner. Heading up the straight. Michael Whiting behind him's got one less yellow sector on this lap. What can Jordan do? Crosses the stripe, only goes up 1 spot. That'll be a big blow. Oh no, he's jumped up to 3rd. Whiting goes up 1 spot. There's some interesting movement there. Might just quickly jump now, see if we can find where Warboys is sitting in 2nd. James Scott a little bit further back, already dominating with some purple sectors. Warboys, he's only got the 1 green. I can't see Warboys improving here. Are we going to see James Scott on pole? Are we going to see Brian Borg come in from behind and jump up on the order? Riggsy peels off into the pits. He's called it a day. Warboys crosses the line. Does he improve? No, he goes to 2:04.18. Then we've got Borg coming over the line. Cam Jones is the man to watch here. Cam Jones up into 3rd. 9.5 Sim Sports. Driver drops it. Run to the 2nd row of the grid. 9.5 lads to be pretty happy about that. Been talking about Cam's pace for the last couple of weeks. That was a fantastic effort.
Yeah, great lap from Cam. Like, yeah, we have talked about his pace. His outright pace has always been good. He just needs to manage his races a little bit, and I think you'll find him, at the pointy end tonight.
I think we will. I think it's going to be very close. Interesting to see if we can get someone else come in. Borgie sitting in 5th. That's a great result for Brian. Damien Johnstone in 6th. Troy Maguire 7th. Riggsy 8th. Freeman in 9th. Whiting is 10th. Craig Schultz, though, leading our Super 2 boys in 14th. That's a great effort. Someone else is peeling off a little bit. I think that might have been Borgie having a bit of a get out of your way for a few of these lads. I'd say most guys here will be on their in-lap. So definitely some interesting results. Dave Coleman and Tim Mulford yet to set a time, which is interesting. Both of them in pit lane. So that's a bit of a shock for me. As we're continuing on.
Yeah, we did see Dave Coleman struggle on that first lap, and then I haven't seen him come back out of the pit, so maybe he's decided that safety is a better part of valour for the start, and he's just going to start from pit lane and see if he can get through turn one unscathed.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good battle. Feel these boys roll in as the time's now shut down. Just wait for the clock to unwind. As I think we've only got another 2 cars on track. 25th Simon Mezzamone. Looks like he's on an in-lap as well. Jordan Ross still on track. Don't think he would have got another run looking at the time. Says he's on an outlap, so he's obviously just checking his setup before we drop into the race.
Pretty dominating performance once again from James Scott with a 2:03.829. He's got 3/10 over second place Blake Warboys. So big congrats to James. Another, like I said, dominating performance.
Yeah, I think you'd be pretty happy with that. It'll be interesting to see. It's going to be a tough race. Right? Boys, 280 Ks tonight, 2 compulsory stops. And then on top of that, they only had 2 sets of tyres. So I think that's going to be very, very tough for these boys.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be a tough one to manage, to have to get 2 stints out of a set of tyres. So, yeah, I think we'll see some interesting strategies here, and we may well see a few people pit very early.
I think that'd be the way I'd be looking at it. I'd probably do the old Thomas Freeman trick, get after lap 1, and then we'd basically be in a situation where you just got to manage 1 more stop. Or the other alternative is to go as long as you can and then do a very short stint in the middle. But looking forward to seeing what these boys do and can and don't do. As we looking through Team SSR, great shout out to Pete Keller, who's jumped in the chat. And just waiting for the clock to finally tick over, which should be any second now. And then we can get ready on the grid and start running through what our grid order looks like for this evening. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, Mark. I think it's going to be a real interesting race. It's a track also known for the slipstream, very important to stay in it. So if these guys can all keep together, I think it'll be some very tough racing, some good passing opportunities at this place versus a few of the other circuits we've been at in the last few weeks. So there's no excuse for these boys not to be able to battle on in their own right here. And the championship is on the line for a few of these lads. So let's go to the grid and have a look what we've got. So we've got James Scott on pole from Synergy Sim Racing alongside Blake Warboys from WK&P on the front row. Great effort from Blake after winning the AOG race against James last night at Roskilde. On the next row, 95 Sim Sports, Cam Jones up against Synergy Sim Racing's Jordan Ross. And then we've got Brian Borg alongside Damien Johnstone. Troy Maguire from Fishy Motorsports in 7th. And he's up against Adam Briggs from Synergy Sim Racing. And then behind him is his Fishy's teammate, Thomas Freeman in 6th, alongside the big fish, Michael Whiting. And then Jamie Dyke, the Goldfish, is back in 11th, alongside Zach McDonald from 95 Sim Sport. Great effort from the youngster to put himself on the 6th row. And continuing down the grid, we then move to Dave Kirby. Dave Kirby's alongside Craig Schultz, the man that we've been talking about, putting it on pole for the Super 2 boys. Then after that, we've got Christian Smart from Synergy Sim Racing alongside Platinum Racing's Sean Rigby. And in 17th is Platinum Racing teammate Wayne Sheedy alongside Synergy Sim Racing's Tom Freer. Long way back for Tom. Accelerate Sim Racing's Anthony Visma in 19th. alongside Bogan Racing's Brad Doble in 20th. Ash Borella and WK&P running in 21st, and Chris Funky Miller from Rishi Motorsports in 22nd. Chris Blanchard is alongside his WK&P teammate Blair Van Ree in 23rd and 24th. Then we head down onto the next row of the grid, and we have Simon Mesmo in 25th, Dave Coleman in 26th. Then we have Tim Mulford in 27th. Sebastian is our race control for East Coast. Josh Drage obviously didn't set a time in the retro livery that he's running this evening for WK&P. And then Richie Borella is in 30th as our safety car driver. And David Worrell is our assistant race control. That is the grid for tonight, Mark.
Yeah, some interesting things there, especially with Tom Freer qualifying in 18th. Not what we usually expect from Tom, but I'm sure he will make his way through the field as he does most weeks with his overtaking prowess. So yeah, looking forward to these boys getting through the first couple of corners cleanly and setting ourselves up for a great race.
Oh, I think it's anybody's battle, this one. I think really just James has got to get that start underway. He's been known to not have some good starts of late, but we're all about to find out in a minute. War Boys will be looking for a good start as well. Keep an eye on Cam Jones. He's qualified in 3rd. That's sensational effort from the 9.5 driver. Jordan Ross, championship leader, sitting in 4th. So he doesn't want to lose too many spots to Ross. So we'll definitely need to be sorted with that one. And we're about to go racing.
Green flag.
The green flag, we're away. And it looks like everyone's going to get away clearly. James Scott, they're going to go 3 wide. No, we're not behind. James Scott covers it off. Jones sticking up the inside of Warboys. Warboys forced wide. Jones gets a little bit loose. And it's all happening there. In that
Sean
sense.
Rigby and somebody else off at turn 3.
That was Rigby, missed that one. But it's James Scott coming down. Marseille straight for the first time. Warboys in 2nd, Jones in 3rd, Borg in 4th. A little bit of a shuffle back. McDonald's losing more spots down into 14th.
Could have been our Super 2 championship leader off with Sean Rigby there at turn 3, I think.
Yeah, definitely hiding his way. Scott, though, he's definitely on top of all this. Warboys just trying to keep up with a few things that have been going on in the background. Michael Whiting's got himself up 2 spots at the moment. See the blue car down there in the back, tucked up behind the yellow green car of Adam Briggs.
Yeah, so James Scott got a great start there. Blake did bog it down a little bit, and Jordan Ross was really searching for somewhere to sneak up the inside, but he just found no room, and then Jordan himself just got a fraction loose on the exit of turn 3, and he actually dropped a spot there to Brian Borg. So yeah, great start from James. Blake has recovered nicely to be tucked under James's wing now, and yeah, it's game on.
Nice Borgie, a hard man to pass, but just watch how this craft carries him up to the back of him. On board here with Jordan Ross. Over the line, start lap 2. Oh, Jones, a little bit wide. Opens the door up for Borg. Borg's going in the inside. What does Ross do? No, he backs out. Nicely tucks in behind. Millimetres and gap distance here. That opens up the door for a 1.7 second gap to Warboys. And Scott as well. So this now puts Forgy in the firing line. Look at the slip here. That is what I've been talking about. The big slipstream. Ross going to try it up the inside, side by side with Borg. Plenty of room here. Still side by side. No one's going to yield here. See the cars queuing up behind. Great respectful driving from both of these guys as Jordan Ross sneaks through on board.
Great driving there from all the drivers, but yeah, what about Jordan Ross finally grabbing them 2 spots that he put a purchase on early there, and yeah, great driving from Borg. He defended as hard as he possibly could without doing anything nasty, and Jordan was finally able to prevail. So, but James Scott and Blake Warboys have really opened up a bit of a gap here, and the only person not getting a draft at the moment by the look of it is James Scott.
Yeah, he's well and truly got no one in the draft. Warboys, play the smart game, hopefully stay up tucked in behind, make the most of it. Try and jump him in the pit stops. And speaking of pit stops, we've seen Schultz go in for Mulford go in for an early one. That's about it, really.
Yeah, well, Timmy Mulford, he started from pit lane and then he's already made one pit stop. So his strategy's clear. We've got a whole bunch of drivers.
We've got a sushi train heading into the pits. We've got Whiting, Maguire, Freeman, Kirby, Miller. This is a fishy motorsport predominated move here. Jamie Dyke, the only driver from the team to stay out, which is quite interesting. Obviously sitting in good track position is Jamie, sitting up in 8th. He's up 3 spots, but he's in the back front of this battle pack we've got here. Freya, a little bit of movement in front, jump up on Jamie. A little bit of light flashing in the background there. I think that was coming from Tom Freya. So these boys here definitely battling away.
Yeah, very interesting move there from the majority of the Fishy team, all pitting on the same lap, so they've obviously crunched their numbers and worked out what they think is going to be the best way forward for them tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out with another 41 laps remaining.
That's exactly right. Interesting to see. But it's a good little battle here. There's a couple of battles still going on track as well at the moment. Might jump back up with Cameron Jones. He's under a fair bit of pressure from Briggsy now and Damien Johnstone. So the Synergy Sim Racing boys starting to make a little bit of a move. Looking to get themselves up the track a little bit. Continuing on around the corner. And up through Thunder Valley. And Zach McDonald, I think, just had an off. We might have a look at the Supercheap Auto replay. Oh, that's a little bit of contact, I think, with Tom Freya, I think. Wayne Sheedy there getting bird's eye view of it all. So definitely a little bit going on.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything called into race control, so it'll be interesting to see if anything comes of that one.
As Briggsy having a look on Jones, gets the job done. Nice overtake. And tunnelling in behind here, Damien Johnstone getting a bird's eye view of all this action. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Jones here have another go back now that he's got the slipstream down the Marseille sweep. Big defending from Briggs on the inside. It's going to hold the corner. Johnstone closes up the gap. Very beautiful flowing circuit is Road America. Lads continuing on. You can see Briggsy though, definitely had the legs. He's definitely pulling that distance away.
Yeah, the one thing we've got to keep in mind tonight, John, is tyre management, because as we said earlier, they've only got 2 sets to play with, so they've got a double stint, 1 set of tyres. So just wondering if James Scott is really just trying to manage his tyres a little bit and just doing enough to keep Blake at bay, which is actually probably Jordan's feeling like he needs to get after these two, so he's probably not conserving tyres. So lots of interesting things yet to unfold tonight.
Yeah, well, Jordan's closed that gap in by half a second from where it was before. He managed to get himself past Borgie. And continuing on down, Sheedy's into the pits. Continuing on, you've got Warboys in that draft of Scott, so he'd be saving his tyres. So it's an absolute epic battle. And I'd probably say that the Fishy Boys probably took that early stop to get home, knowing that one more stop and a fresh set of tyres at that stop, I would say, would be their strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is Blake's going to be, I'm sure, saving fuel behind James Scott here and also not using too much of his tyres. So Blake's in a good position. He's done a great job in qualifying and he's executing his race really well at the moment.
He's doing really good. He's going to go back. Christian Smart, he's tucked right up behind Tom Free. He's doing really well. He's leading our Super 2 charges. Interestingly enough, though, the man sitting behind these boys, up 10 spots, Ash Borella.
Yeah, I was just looking at that in my timing screen, John. Yeah, I just see the plus 10 and looked across at the name and Ash Borella, and that's an epic job from Ash so far. He has been racing exceptionally well the last 3 or 4 races, so good to see him continue that form.
Yeah, he's been working a little bit hard at it the last few weeks, and definitely great to see him stepping up a little bit more. Brad Doble sitting back in 12th. Dave Coleman's got himself up to 13th. Just fix up that livery of Ash. Going back a bit further, Blair Van Rees up 8 spots to 16th. So he's hunting down Chris Blanchard and Josh Strage in front of him. So this is a few of our Super 2 boys having a good old battle back in the pack here. Zach McDonald, after that stop, he's got himself, after the incident that he was in earlier, he's got himself back on track and he's working his way back up, sitting in 17th as Blair lets him through. Acknowledging the faster car, smart way to do it.
Yeah, you really got to pick your battles, John, and yeah, smart driving there from Blair, but Blair's actually going to get the toe up here, and Zach's going to have to work even harder into turn 1 here.
Yeah, definitely working very hard. He's going to jump back on with Blair for a second. Definitely getting the draft on Zach. That going defensive, big lock up from Blanchard in front. Like I said, you got to look after those tyres. Of course, Blair more known for his go-karting skills. Right, he's doing really well. Good to have him back in the sim after a little bit of time away. Those might just jump back up the front. Let's check on that Scott Warboys battle. It's like Warboys just staying 0.4 back, hanging onto that toe. James Scott just nicely in control here. That gap opening up again back to Jordan Ross, now back out to 2 seconds. Has Jordan spent a little bit too much on his tyres trying to chase him down?
Yeah, the previous couple of laps, James and Blake were both in the 206s, but they've dropped back down into the 205s now, and that's what Jordan is doing as well. So the boys in front are probably just feeling like they probably need to maintain this gap if they can, but Jordan's given 110% at the moment. He's not conserving anything.
Yeah, Jamie Dyke is in, nephew Peter, and we've had a few things happen here. Richard Borella, no, not him. Safety car was just about to come out. We did just have an accident with Ash Borella that I'm just about to jump to. And someone else screaming back in further there. It's going to go a bit further back. Going to go a bit further back. Ash Borella's caused a massive accident, I think. Borella coming into his cut, the kink, into the wall. A few others through the kink trying to avoid. And I'm not sure who that was. Bogan Racing, that's Brad Doble. And blown engine for Borella. So definitely worth keeping an eye on, everybody. It's just safety car isn't on track, just double checking that. As we try and pick back up our race leaders. Just a little bit of issues there.
That was an unusual one from Ash there. It looked like he had a malfunction of some sort.
Yeah, not sure exactly. He's out, he might jump in a bit later and try and suss it out. Mr. Dave Baldock's in the chat saying that Blake's got a stupid mo. Ash has got problems with his screens, what Baldock's hearing. So there you go, that's the answer on that one.
Yeah, it just looked like he couldn't see where he was going, and he didn't hit the brakes anywhere, and yeah, it just looked like he had no idea what was going on. So that's a shame for Ash. There's nothing worse when you're having a good run and you have a hardware malfunction.
The old commentator's curse has kicked in again. And Warboy's off the track this time. I just saw before Briggsy in the background off. Blake going a little bit wide there through the hurry downs. How are you, Josh Borella? And yeah, some interesting little mistakes starting to creep in here. And we're only relatively early into the race. Okay, as we are back into the pits. Are we under safety car? Yes, we are. I've finally brought the safety car out. I'll work out where the car is we're waiting for. Everyone piling into the pits now, so this will be interesting to see. The Fishy Boys should get a bit of a freebie here as they come over the line. An early stop for the Fishy lads. Might be about to mix things up a bit here.
Looks like Borgie jumped everybody here.
Yeah. Borgie's the first one out. Just gonna
do that, thank you.
Fix my chat sound up. I'd hear what was going on. That might be a bit better. Coleman stuck in, Zach Brown stuck in, Van Rees still in, Blanchard. But Borgie is going to lead Scott. Blake Warboys in third, Whiting in fourth, Freeman in sixth, Ross in sixth. The interesting thing is who's jumped in there for tyres and who's not.
I would be surprised if anybody's taken tyres this early, to be honest.
Definitely shaking it up a bit with all the Fishy cars now up into the top 10. So looking forward to seeing how this rolls out from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Great piece of strategy there for the Fishy Boys. They have really made the race kind of turned it on its head a little bit here, because they've all managed to jump plenty of places up the grid. So, and Jordan Ross is, who was right behind Blake Warboys at one stage, has now got two Fishy cars in front of him.
Make it rather interesting for the championship leader as the Bay 21 Coffee Beans safety car comes through the carousel.
I'm going to get the pack controls up, and then we'll have a quick look at the things. I'm going to try and get you guys in fresh position before we get Corey. This safety car may be a couple of laps.
There's of course the Mercedes, always with a mean sound.
Yeah, that Mercedes is an absolute beast, and it's a great fun car to drive.
Yeah, the boys definitely keen running around in that one.
Once the train passes you, take the lane.
So some big winners and some big losers in that one. Yeah, like the Fishy boys have managed their stop nicely, but there's a few people that lost out there. So Cam Jones is now down 6 spots.
Big loss to Cam. So see how he goes. Long way to fight back here. We can probably expect to go green end of this lap. Into the next lap, sorry. Still a bit of a battle to go. Looks like, double checking here, looks like Borella's got himself going again. Ash is back on track. Of course, running the Mustang tonight.
Yeah, Ash was able to limp back, drive it back to pit lane. He didn't need a tow, so he's obviously had a fast repair, which has helped him greatly. So he's been able to really get out of jail there, and let's hope he doesn't have any other hardware issues.
Please switch positions with 307.
So, race control still trying to sort out a few cars.
Well, the beauty of this track is it's a very long lap, so it does give you plenty of time to try and sort through things if you're in race control. But yeah, it's still a lot of work, and a reminder to all our viewers and all our drivers that we're lucky to have people who volunteer regularly for various series in race control, and we're extremely lucky to have a great race control in this series.
Yes, of course. Our lead race control Seb, so does the Pro Series.
Yeah, Seb does a great job.
Yeah, does a really good job. I think this is Richard's 7th season driving the safety car for us. It's a fair effort in itself. Now, Borgie with number 1 next to his name. Looking forward to seeing this restart. Forward to seeing what James Scott and Warboys do. So how did Borgie get there? That's probably the question we need to have a quick look at. So he's going to have a quick look at the pit times. So we can see Borgie was in for 12 seconds. James Scott for 18. Warboys 17. Whiting Freeman went in early. They didn't go in under the green flag, under the safety car. They had 7-second and 6-second stops because they pitted on lap 3. So some interesting changes there, but definitely 6 seconds difference between Borg, Scott and Warboys, which is going to make it very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Borgie will pay the price for that on his second stop, obviously, but yeah, James with one of the longer pit stops in that series. So James taken as much fuel on board as he could, and which will make his second stop a little bit shorter. So we've got about half a lap to go before we're back to green car racing, green flag racing. So yep, race control just said we're going green this time by. So going to be a pretty hectic restart, I would imagine.
Always is this place. You got to get that restart right. You got to get that draft.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if Borgie, goes before he actually reaches the control line myself. Otherwise, he's just going to open it up for James Scott to draft him all the way up the hill there. So that'd be my tactic, go at the control line. But we'll just have to wait and see how Brian goes here.
Oh, Bay 21 Coffee Bean safety car pulling away from the pack. Love that sound of that Mercedes. A deep, rich V8 rumble. Borgie definitely hanging way back. Safety car almost into pit lane. Pretty safe track to put the car in pit lane here. The only pit car, safety car incident I've seen at this place is the safety car roll backwards out of the pits. Borgie now. Brian Borg in control of this field. When's he going to go green? Plenty of experience. Brian Borg. It's going to carry him to the hill. He's away. He called that one, Mark, all the way to the control line. Jordan Ross in the background. Not sure what Jordan referring to.
A little bit of argy-bargy there between Jordan Ross and Thomas Freeman by the look of it.
Nothing popped up in my stream, but anyway, carry on. As Brian Borg gets through the first three corners, holding that lead spot. James Scott tucked up behind. Looking rather well. Let's put the interval back up for everyone. And the incident with Jordan Ross has been noted, so another one for race control to sort out. This group of 6 cars here, all nicely, or 7 cars, all nicely still tucked up together. Starting to pull away from Dave Kirby, Freeman. Here we go, Scott having a look. Borg defends on the inside. As we head into the carousel. Don't forget, these guys are all on 10-lap old tyres.
Yeah, Brian's done a pretty good job so far getting that restart right and being able to hold off James Scott for the time being. James got a pretty good run heading down towards Canada here. I don't know if he's going to make that lunge. No, he's not.
Backs out. Nice pace being shown by Borgie here in this early stages of this restart.
Yeah, like you said, John, Borgie's got plenty of experience and he's been in and amongst the top flight of V8 racing in Australian sim racing for a long time. So he'll be relishing this at the moment.
As we head down the Road America straight, see James Scott dragging War Boys along and being dragged along by Borg.
Jordan Ross in the Jordan Ross in the meantime has been able to get past Thomas Freeman on that lap.
Was championship leader sitting back in 5th. He'd be hoping to make a bit of work of some of these guys. We're only a quarter of the way through the race, still a long way to go. I'm just going to have a look at the back here. See Whiting tucked up behind War Boys. Big winner from those round of pit stops.
Borgie defending pretty fiercely here from James Scott.
James Scott tucked up behind Brian. Not much of a gap between the 2 cars.
Brian runs wide here.
Oh no, let's Scott through, War Boys through. Does Whiting get in on the action? In through the carousel. That's not the spot where you want to do it, coming down through the bottom of Hurry Downs. See, Whiting's under a lot of pressure from Jordan Ross now.
Yeah, great anticipation there from Blake Warboys as well to pounce on that small mistake from Brian Borg.
Jordan Ross tucked right up behind the big fish, Michael Whiting.
Yeah, Whiting's doing a great job for the fishy team, and yeah, Brian Borg, unfortunately, that's kind of one of the things what happens when you defend so hard. You kind of lose your rhythm and you lose your place on the track, and it's easy to run out of room or make a small mistake. So James Scott now has got free rein in front of him, and I expect James to probably forget about conserving now. He's just going to put the hammer down.
Oh, he needs to. Needs to try and get a bit of daylight between some of these boys. No, sitting on Jordan Ross at the moment, but you got Thomas Freeman further back watching this battle. We've got Maguire, Johnstone. They're all there.
Yeah, just behind them boys, we got Adam Briggs as well. So there's plenty of fast guys in and around this top 10. Cam Jones is in 10th at the moment. So yeah, there's and then Tom Freo. So there's plenty of pace in this top 10, top 15.
They've got to settle in at this stage. Whiting, a little bit wide there defending Ross. Having a little bit of look on Borg as well.
Yeah, Borg running wide at the same place where he lost 2 positions.
Whiting just opened the door up for Ross in the carousel. Nice move from Jordan. Not a spot where you normally expect to see someone make the move.
No, and Jordan, he doesn't need invitations to be sent twice, so he's the championship leader for a good reason.
And all over the back of Borgie now. He'd be wanting to get up behind War Boys. Borgie
Runs wide again.
Opens the door for Whiting to come through. Wire's going to be in the mix here. Borgie hung out again on the final corner out too wide. Manages to get through safely. 2x2 up the main straight.
10 wide at the moment.
3 wide. Very wide, and Briggsy trying to get in there as well. Oh, surely this is... Oh.
Yeah, I really expected that to end in tears, but the boys have done pretty well.
I'm still waiting. That is some magnificent driving from these guys. 3 wide again. This time Jones, Briggs, Johnstone. No, sorry, Maguire.
I think we had a little bit of touching there from Maguire and Briggsy, and that's allowed Cam Jones to capitalise and make 2 spots back.
But definitely some great driving here. Very entertaining.
Yeah, Troy Maguire making it very difficult for Briggsy, but Briggsy finally has been able to get past him, and it was a lot harder than what Briggsy probably wanted, but anyway, he's got there in the end.
He's through. He's gonna jump back on, a little bit going on, a little bit of chat. I might just have a quick look at Simon Mesmo, 95 Sim Sport. I'm not sure what happened here. Going a little bit slow at this stage, and a bit of a contact. Not sure who the other car was, but that's been called in. Race control will be looking at that. A little bit of grass cutting from Simon.
Yeah, not sure if that was Timmy Moffat. I did hear him on the radio, so we'll let race control sort through that replay, and they'll make an adjudication.
Wayne Sheedy from Platinum Racing, he was our Super 2 leader. He's just shuffled himself right back. Let's just go to the replay on that one as well. This is coming down into Canada. It's in a little bit too hot. That's a bit... Let's see all those cars go past. He's going to jump back on with the big fish, Michael Whiting, and he's got Brian Borg still all behind him. Borgie be trying to fight his way back after the restart. Did really well. Then got caught out in some of that epic battle.
Yeah, well, we've seen with Borgie, a couple of really small mistakes, but the field's so tight and such a easy place to pick up a draft. Like, he just got shuffled back in a matter of corners, you know, and he's lost He's lost 5 positions from where he restarted under the safety car, so that can happen very quickly around here.
And some great side-by-side racing. Whiting manages to get himself back out in front. Damien Johnstone having a bit of a look. Cam Jones sitting at the back of this, watching all this unfold in front of him.
I'm sure Cam Jones is feeling like he's been given a bit of a second chance here. He did get shuffled back a little bit prior to the safety car, and he did come out at the very rear end of the top 10, but he's been able to make a few places up since the safety car restart. So good to see Cam back on the pace and racing hard.
Ooh, 143, breach of safety car procedures.
It's Jordan Ross, championship leader, so...
Didn't see penalty handed out though, so wait and see. As Johnstone goes a little bit wide, opens the door up for Jones. He makes up another one into 7th. Whiting and Borgie still battling on. Allowing Thomas Freeman to get a little bit of a distance in front. Thomas still 2 seconds behind Ross. Borgie all tucked up in behind. Of course, get to have a good look at the West End Motor Group banners on the car behind of Brian Borg, and also on the rear wing of Michael Whiting as here comes Borgie. Up the inside. Can he do it this time? I think he has. Job done. Nice work, Mr. Borg.
Yeah, good job there. Michael Whiting just in the end had to yield. I think he decided that he was better off losing one position rather than giving everything away. So smart driving there from Michael, and good work from Borgie as well.
Yeah, got to be very careful. We've got this long train tucked in behind. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, West End Motor Group consists of 2 Easy Finance, Parramatta Mazda, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Parramatta Peugeot Professionals, Parramatta City of Vale and Great Wall Motors, Blacktown Mazda, Blacktown City of Vale and Great Wall Motors as well. So if you're ever in the Sydney area and in the market for a motor vehicle, I highly recommend you go and talk to the team out at West End Motor Group. It's an epic battle of these boys.
Yeah, we're just starting to see James Scott inch his way forward and away from Blake Warboy. Blake's not too far behind, but probably the biggest gap James has had all race here, and he's really doing everything he can to break this draft. So as we saw, like Jordan's back up into 3rd. He did get a breach of safety restart procedures, but we're seeing NFA on that, so no further action.
There we go. An incident between Borg and Jordan Ross is deemed a racing incident. No further action there either. We can see here, Jordan Ross is starting to catch Warboys a little bit. This is 1, 2 and 3 on the track, all inside of each other. And jump back on as we go back to this next pack. Just got Michael Whiting, Johnstone. So a few of these boys starting to get through on Whiting now.
I'm not sure if Michael's made a mistake, but he has lost a position to Cam Jones and Adam Briggs in the last half of that last lap. So yeah, Michael just got to settle back down and get into his rhythm and realise he's got some good drafting opportunities in front of him, and just keep his eye on where he needs to place the car, and he'll be able to maintain. So it's unfortunate he's lost 3 positions in that last lap.
Yeah, a little bit. Borgie, he's still under pressure from Cam Jones. Cam's done really well.
just looking at that, Cam has really started, he closed that gap quite quickly on Brian, so Cam's clearly got a good rhythm going at the moment, and he'll be looking to capitalise on that one. Thomas Freeman has fallen quite a bit back from Jordan Ross, so Thomas has really lost a toe there, and he's going to be the one taking all these boys around in the not too distant future, with them closing down on him pretty quick. Brian Borg is the car behind Thomas at the moment.
Just jump on board with Jones for a ride around for a lap. He hunts down Ryan Borg in front. And not sure who that was. That's one of the fish. That's Freeman.
Yeah, Thomas Freeman with a big mistake. So that's 2 places lost, and the tyres won't like that at all.
No, it's still a long way to go. Only lap 17 of 44. You'd be looking to try and at least get to lap 22.
Yeah, that's the minimum you want, is to split this race in half, and I probably think you'll probably find they'll probably try and go to around 28, I would think.
That'd be more likely his target. Big Jones getting on the throttle, a little bit of wheel spin. Such a fast-blowing track here, as you can see, you know, 160 k's coming into Hurry Downs. On the slower corners on the circuit there. And into the carousel, he's still doing 140, 150 k's. Running that very tight. Coming in through the kink. Look at the speeds through here. 200 kilometres an hour. Point and shoot. That fence on the left there, not far away as we come into Canada Corner. And definitely heading down hard on the brakes. Pull it up to 120 k's. Use that little bit of extra track that they've given you. Up through Thunder Valley. Bill Mitchell Bend now. Over the rise. Into the final corner. Third gear corner, got to let the car flow. Not get on too early because you'll spin the wheels up. Now you got to suck in the draft up the hill here. Hope to get a little bit off the fence. It's edging closer and closer and closer to Borgie. Gap's closing. Backs out early. Not going to get it done. That is a lap on board around this fantastic circuit. Pete asking the question on the track temp. Track temp tonight, 25 degrees. 45 degrees the wind angle, 19 degrees is the air temp. Fairly low humidity, 3%. Sorry, fairly low barometer. A redress for Timmy Melford. Yeah, so that's our weather as well. And Jones now gets past Borg.
Yeah, Borgie just lifted a little bit there and let Cam through. I think going up the front straight that time, if it had been any other car than a teammate, I reckon Cam would have sent it up the inside, but he showed some respect there to his teammate, and then Borgie finally made a slight mistake and then just lifted and let Cam through. So big gap now ahead to Jordan Ross, so Cam's really going to have his work cut out for him here to peg these guys back if we don't get another safety car.
Dave Baldock wanting to know why they call it Canada Corner. It's because it's where in the first... I'm not going to bother, you know, Dave. Setting me up.
Yeah. Jordan Ross has really been able to close this gap down to Blake Warboys, and James Scott surprisingly hasn't been able to make too much ground on Blake, so James really suffering having no one to draft and everybody drafting off him.
Expect Ross here to make a move shortly, I think. He's been in that make a move. He's going to jump back to Thomas Freeman. He's tucked right up behind Riggsy. Almost buck drafting him down.
Yeah, we saw that big mistake into turn 3, I think it was, from Thomas. Unusual mistake from Thomas to get that so wrong, and he did lose a couple of spots, but plenty of time to recover. We've still got 25 laps remaining, and being such a long lap, there's plenty of kilometres still to go.
And Wallboy's now under a fair bit of pressure from Ross. Ross has a bit of a look.
Yeah, Jordan got a couple of things to think about here. He's trying to manage his championship lead at the moment, so he doesn't want to really throw it all away at this stage. So he's really going to, I think, make sure that when he makes that move, he knows it's going to be decisive. Move away from these front three, and we've got a big long train from Cam Jones back to Tom Freer. So we've got about 8 or 9 cars in that next train, and I think that might start to get a little bit spicy before too long as well, especially as these tyres really start to lose their grip.
Yeah, definitely starting to see that. Thomas Freeman, of course, had that mistake earlier. He's trying to fight his way back, stuck up behind Briggs. Come right back, Tom Freeman, man we haven't spoken about for a while. He's in at 11th, he's up 7 spots. He'll be looking to knock on the door and get himself into that top 10. You know, he needs to stay with these boys. You know, it's a fair gap back. This guy's a 4.5 seconds up the road from Jamie Dyke. But it's only really 2 or 3 seconds all the way up to 4th for these guys. Big points up for grabs.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to play for in from 4th place back to 11th here.
Damien Johnstone in the middle of this group. And
Cam Jones runs deep and loses 3 or 4 spots. That'll be disappointing for Cam.
of course, with everyone so bunched up and so closely contested like this, it's very easy to see where that'll happen, where that'll fall. Michael Whiting now having a good hard look. Briggsy's still having a good hard look on Borg as well. Thomas Freeman in the mix here.
Yeah, Cam really just got to put that out of his mind now and not think about what he's lost and just start thinking about what he can gain with just settling back in, because very difficult sometimes to put them mistakes to the back of your mind and they play on you for quite a few laps. Hopefully Cam can put it aside and get back on with it.
And of course, watching this battle, we've missed Jordan Ross overtaking Warboys down the Road America straight. Plenty of room, plenty easily done. Come pulling out of the draft. Warboys tucking straight in behind. And Brian Borg peels off. He's the early one. In for his second stop. Going to be a long way home for Brian from here. Of course, he did go with that 7-second pit stop.
Yeah, very interesting move there. Surprised me, definitely. But Brian is, you know, he's a very, very experienced sim racer, and he probably thought about where he can make a gain on his competitors, and that could be with the undercut.
Troy Maguire's set it off. Just going to go to the replay to see what happened there. He's lost it himself, I think, and Johnstone's given him a bit of a clip to help him the rest of the way. A little bit unlucky for Troy, driving really well tonight. gets back into the fray. As Dave Pergby just gets past Christian Smart. As you said, Mark, we're definitely getting to the stage where these tyres are starting to get old. I'm starting to see who can manage them, who's managed their tyres and who hasn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, bad luck for Troy there. I don't think Damien Johnson, there was not a real lot he could really do with that. So, yeah, it's a shame for Troy, but he's back on track. He's just got to get back on with it now. He's dropped a bunch of positions, which will be really disappointing for him.
Tom Free is now up 10 spots into 8th. There we go, already adjudicated a racing incident by race control. This little battling pack definitely running its way through. James Scott has been caught by the hard charging Jordan Ross and brought War Boys for the battle. Now, this is for the race lead. This is our podium right in front of us here.
Yeah, it's interesting. James hadn't been able to pull away. I'm not sure if he's just trying to manage his way through the first part of this race to till he gets that fresh set of boots on, and then he's going to open up, or whether he's just the other boys are just finding that they've got good pace. Give quick shout out to Anthony Visma as well, currently in P13, doing a great job, Anthony. I think it's his first season with us at East Coast, so good to see him up there battling just outside the top 10.
Yeah, great little battle here with Christian Smart in front. Zach McDonald tucked up behind. McDonald goes the dive on Visma. Oh, Visma hangs on to that one. Great move. You can see Kirby and Smart in front battling away. Of course, Christian Smart is our Super 2 leader at the moment. Visma sitting in second, so definitely a great effort from Anthony here.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was going to end in tears there, but in the end it was great car control from Zach to not cause a collision, because it was looking very, very dicey there for a few seconds.
Yeah, definitely a very interesting little battle happening here. He's going to jump back up the front. James Scott's under a bit of pressure still. This gap getting very, very close. Warboy's been carried along into the back of this group. So these guys here are 7 seconds up the road from Briggsy. Definitely a great little contest as we reach the half race distance.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can see the lap times are really fallen away from where they started. We're almost at 2 seconds a lap slower than what we started at, so yeah, there's been a big drop off, and you can see drivers are really struggling to hit apexes, and there's lockups and sideways action on exited corners, so tyres are feeling really second hand at the moment, and they're probably blessed it's track temps only at 26 degrees.
Yeah, very lucky it's not one of these hot tracks that we've seen in the last few rounds. It's great. Let's go have a quick look at Josh Drage. Not sure what happened to Dragey. He's had a bit of an incident. Supercheap Auto replay. Coming out of the carousel, he's found the grass. Accelerated into the wall. Gets control. That could have ended a lot worse than what it was. These boys here still all bunched up nose to tail. Coming into the carousel.
Sorry, John, just a couple of cars back from that is Thomas Freeman has got the blowtorch applied to him from Adam Briggs at the moment. So Briggsy looking to make a move and to head towards his teammates up the front of the race.
Yeah, that gap growing all the time. It's at 7 seconds now to that next pack. Of course, Cam Jones trying to fight his way back up the 3 spots that he's lost earlier. a bit loose heading through the final corner. Is that going to inhibit his speed? Bismer into the pits. Starting to see a few of the other boys starting to peel off now. And
Yeah, sorry, John, just looking at Brian Borg, who we know pitted a couple of laps ago. His previous lap time was a 2:06.025, with the leaders doing 2:07.3. So Brian is almost a second and a half a lap quicker than the leaders at the moment. So we may well see Brian use that undercut to good advantage.
It'd definitely be interesting to see. Don't forget too, Brian, of course, in the situation where he had to put more fuel in that second stop. So what these boys will when they get there.
Yeah, I really think Brian's race was with Thomas Freeman, Adam Brigg, Cam Jones and that guy. I'm not sure that he's going to have enough in hand to worry the three boys up front, but Brian, yeah, I think he's trying to maintain his position in that second group.
Of course, this second group still battling all hard amongst each other. Thomas Freeman's managed to scratch out half a second now, but Cam Jones now putting all the pressure on Adam Briggs.
I think the one thing Brian will be really hoping is the cars in front of him start to take their second stop soon before he gets caught up in traffic.
He'll be hoping with that. And we're going to see it this time. Is Jones going to have a crack? Pulls out of the slipstream into turn one, up alongside Briggs. Jones gets through. And we are seeing Freeman now starting to close that gap a little bit too, up to Warboys and Co. Very defensive line from Briggs. Jones manages to hang on here. He's going to jump back up to that front group. They're still nose to tail. Definitely not the standard James Scott race we're used to seeing where he walks away. Question is how much has Jordan Ross used his tyres to get himself back into this battle here?
Actually looks like Jordan's the most comfortable out of the two of them at the moment. James kind of seems like he's struggling to put the car where he normally would want it. So, but in saying that, Jordan's been quite gentlemanly and not harassing James too much. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a funny one at the moment. We're just not quite sure whether James is struggling or whether Jordan's absolutely having a blinder, or a combination of both.
It's a great drive.
What about the drive from Blake Warboys? He's been in the hunt the whole race, and yeah, I think Blake's done an exceptional job so far tonight as well.
And we've just seen Freeman, Jones, Briggs, Whiting, Dyke, Smart and Kirby all peel off for their second stops. So,
so keeping an eye on Borg, that's going to be the interesting one in that battle.
Definitely where we need to keep the eyes. It's Brian Borg still sitting back in 22nd at the moment. He's turning through the last corner now to run down the straight. I'm looking to see where some of these boys start to roll out. Cam Jones still on the jacks. Tell you what, Brian Borg's on here. Borgie's passed. Great call,
And-
Mark.
Yeah, and passed comfortably.
But, of course, story now is Borgie went in on lap 20. These boys going in on lap 26. We've still got to get to the end of the race. Got to get to 44. What are Borgie's tyres like going to be at the end?
They're going to be ragged, but Borgie's taking the old analogy that track position is king.
Meanwhile, up front, James Scott still under a lot of pressure from Jordan Ross. Let's just jump on with Jordan and run around for a lap. Not with Jordan, with James. Just see, you might be actually doing a bit of the old fuel save. Might head to the gyro. No, James, not a big fuel saver. Doesn't enjoy it. Yeah, definitely a bit of lift and coast going on for Mr. Scott. Just explain why we've got the boys tucked up behind him. Zach McDonald, Sheedy and Borella in pit lane now as well.
Tom Freer's starting to make inroads into these three front runners at the moment. He was about half a second quicker than the boys in front of him on that last lap, so he's starting to slowly chip away at that gap.
Yeah, these boys up front here are definitely major fuel saving. That's balanced car control. Okay, Wallboys just peels off into the pits. Looking for that undercut that we've been talking about. They're starting to get to the business end of the race now. Cam Jones might jump on him. He's still tucked up behind Briggs. That battle's going to go all the way to the end after their pit stops.
Yeah, this might force James Scott and Jordan Ross into a pit stop they might not have otherwise wanted to make, but lap 28 out of 44, we've got 16 to go, so probably not too bad a time to take a stop, but Blake probably forced their hand now.
So just keeping a little bit of an eye on War Boys. Of course, Brian Borg 30 seconds down the road, so he should get out in front of him at this stage.
Brian's actually got past Blake.
That's two. War Boys rolling out now. He's back on track. Turn one. A nice move.
Yeah, quite a significant gap too, so that's going to be tough for Blake to bring that one back, I would imagine. I'm not sure what the actual gap is, but I think it's, you know, good 5 seconds at the moment.
War Boys was in the pits for 28 seconds. Briggs was 28. Borg was only in for 19, so something seems a bit weird there for boys. He's obviously miscalculated something in his fuel stop. Of course, Borgie had that very short stop in that first stint.
Yeah, maybe Brian's going to be the one that's miscalculated. I'm not sure.
Well, it's all going to be revealed. There's pull that graphic back away. I'll just go to the other pit strategy graphic so people can get a picture view. So we see Scott, Ross, Freer, Johnstone and Coleman still need to do their second stops. And you see Borgie's had his two. He did 7th and 13. And of course 7 was the safety car. Mesmo's done 21 laps out of this set of tyres already. And sitting in 7th. And then we roll back. Mulford's had a few stops. Warboys has just finished his second stop. So he did 20 laps out of that second stint. So, and we can see Scott, Ross, Coleman and Freer are all in the pits now as well. Dave Coleman takes our race lead. James Scott still on the jacks. Coleman. Borgie goes through, passes James Scott. So, might have to say you might be right. Borgie may have underfilled, hoping for another safety car maybe. All boys rolls through. So the undercuts worked. Very interesting strategy here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you know the combined times of Borgie's stop compared to James Scott. I'd be interested to know the combined times for both them drivers, and probably give us a good indication of how. Sorry to give you some maths this late at night to do, John.
Yeah, I think there was 7 seconds difference in the first. Oh, Borgie's had an incident. Borgie's still off the track, I think, and shuffling back. Borgie's in the wall. Gonna get that going. Not sure what's going on there. Might just couldn't go to the replay. He's just miscalculated something now, so he's had some equipment failure or something.
I can hear the engine going, but I don't know if he's got the...
He's just requested a tow just centrally. There we go, safety car's out again. Oh, it's a strategy he was hoping for, but it's just not him.
Yeah, he wanted that second safety car, but he didn't want to cause it.
Yeah. So this will take all the fuel issues out of play for all the guys that have made their second stop. Borg's still sitting there on the fence.
Could have been one of them dreaded iRacing things where it just the shark bite of the fence just doesn't let you go.
For the second time tonight, we get to see the safety car out on track. And it's turning into an interesting battle. We've got Warboys as our race leader. From James Scott, Jordan Ross in 3rd, Adam Briggs 4th, Cam Jones in 5th. Great recovery from Cam to get himself back to there. Tom Freer in 6th, up 12 spots. Damien Johnstone in 7th. Thomas Freeman in 8th, up 1 spot. Up 6 spots, our Super 2 leader, Christian Smart, sitting in 9th. Great effort from Christian, and he's ahead of Jamie Dyke, who rounds out our top 10. Michael Whiting, Zach McDonald in 12th, Dave Coleman up 13 in 13. Anthony Visma up 5 in 14, great drive from Anthony. And then we've got Dave Kirby in 15, 16 Sheedy, 17 is Craig Schultz. Bunky Miller up 4 spots in 18th, Blair Van Ree up 5 spots in 19th, and Ash Borella up 1 spot in 20th. So a few movers and shakers in that group.
Yeah, pretty good comeback there from Craig Schultz in 17th. We did see him and I think it was Sean Rigby on the opening lap. off track, and yeah, Craig went all the way back to the rear of the pack, so it's been a pretty good comeback from Craig from where he ended up on lap 1. So fingers crossed he can keep pushing forward and keep the his championship in the Super 2 part of the series alive and well.
Yeah, definitely a good battle in those Super 2 boys. And starting to let some of these lap cars pass. What we might do with the safety car is just take a second to try a quick little add up.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
And people who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, and that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name. Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super.
So we safety car is going to increase the speed. So we're definitely looking forward to how this battle is going to unfold for the last 15 laps or 14 laps when we go green.
I think we've got one more lap under the safety car and then we're going to go green, so we'll have 13 race laps, but 13 laps around here is a long, long way. It's what is it, about 6 kilometre circuit, so there's still plenty of racing to unfold before we get to the end of this one.
Yeah, definitely going to be a good little battle. Cam Jones driven really well tonight, running in that top 10. We were saying last week, one of the improved drivers in the series, starting to get some consistency. Been great to see him battle his way through here. Briggsy, previous series champion, he's fought his way up the 4th, but can he get himself up one more spot and get a step on that podium? Team Bosch, Jordan Ross sitting in front of him. James Scott, our current champion, being followed by the man leading the series, and then former champion Blake Warboy sitting in first.
Yeah, it's like the Hall of Fame at the front of the pack here. It's we've got quite a few former series champions. Tom Freer doing an excellent job, up 12 spots. Another one who's done a great job is Dave Coleman, up 13 spots, I think it is.
Yep.
So some big movers out there tonight.
Of course, Coleman will be looking to get himself up to Christian Smart. Smarty leading our Super 2 drivers and sitting in the top 10. So that's a great effort for the Synergy Sim Racing driver. Be pretty chuffed with himself at the moment. But also know fair bit of work to do. Boxed in between the two fishy boys, the Freeman and Dyke.
Yeah, Christian's got plenty of experience. He's a great racer. Does plenty of racing for the vets, and yeah, he's a great guy and races pretty hard and clean. We seen him make a pretty big error last week where he failed to take his second pit stop and got DQ'd. So I'm sure he would like that one over again, but that's done and dusted, and he's doing a good job tonight, sitting in 9th place at the moment.
And can confirm has taken 2 stops.
Yeah, good luck getting around here in 44 laps on one stop.
It's a long way around. The undulation up and down the hill. As these boys about to head downhill again in and through Hurry Downs.
So about a third of a lap to go. We'll probably we'll see the safety car start to pull away pretty soon, and then I guess we'll probably see whether James will do exactly what Borgie did, and oh no, sorry, Blake's the lead car. He'll do what Borgie did and take it to the control line, I think, to minimise anybody else's chance of getting a draft into turn one.
Yeah, very interesting for War Boys. Maybe pretty chuffed sitting in P1 at the moment though. Pretty good quality field we got here.
Yeah, absolutely. He took that stop 1 lap earlier than James Scott and Jordan Ross and made the undercut
Maintain 80 kilometres
work
an
for
hour.
him, and yeah, it was a good strategy and forced the other boys into possibly changing their strategy. So yeah, 13 laps to go, a long way to hang on for anybody at the moment.
Well, Richie driving it to the line. Jumping on board as the boys are all snaking their way into Canada Corner. Very easy track to get into pit lane, so I won't expect too much from Richie. Except for speeding.
Safety car in the lane, 63, you have control.
Let's jump back on with War Boys. John Stewart's going to have to talk to him about speeding in pit lane. Hey, War Boys, does he carry him all the way? See Scott tucked right up behind. And he's away, he's gone early.
Has gone early. He has caught him napping a little bit too, and he's been able to create a little bit of a gap, which should see him be safe into turn one at least, which is what he wanted.
Yep, he's managed to get away with it. Great jump there with War Boys. Scott Ross tucked up behind.
I'm sure the boys didn't expect him to go then, and yeah, it was great strategy there from Blake to catch him a little bit unawares.
He's done pretty well. Bit of swirling in the background there from Cam Jones. Might just drop back to that battle. See the boys in front still. Jones though, thought he might have been having a look there, but he hasn't. Got Freya tucked right up behind him. War Boys has James Scott now making all the moves. Has a little bit of a sneaky look through Harry Downs. Tucks up in behind. Oh, War Boys a bit loose. Coming out of the carousel, still sideways. Hasn't got control of it, but that's allowed Ross and Scott through. Briggs has gone through as well. Blake would be very disappointed with that. Under a lot of pressure now from Cam Jones. War Boys, was there a contact?
No, it's just on board with that. It looked like it was netcode, which is a real shame.
It's going to go have a quick look at that one. Sounds like he's got the car going. Yeah, potentially a bit of netcode. A little bit unlucky for Blake. How about the live pigs? Got the car going again. Jump back on with James Scott. Jordan Ross. This is an epic battle now for the run home as we're on lap 33 or 44. Of course, we did see War Boys lose a little bit coming out of one of the corners there.
Coming out of the carousel there, he did put a tyre on the grass and got a bit of a tank slapper on there.
Yeah, I think that's something to be disappointed about. But you've got to be millimetre perfect around his place to be able to. That's interesting. Got War Boys and Ross, so we might just have a look at that tank slapper. It's jumping on. That's Scott. No, he's through there safely. He gets back on, and there's a little slight contact with Ross. I think that's the one that was noted. Then, of course, we got Cam Jones having a look. We'll go back to live pics. So Scott now working out. He's about 0.6 of a second away. Ross is 0.6 seconds away from Briggs. A little bit of a contest back around Damien Johnstone, Thomas Freeman. Boys shuffled all the way back to 24th, of course, after the safety car. Everybody bunched up.
Worst possible time for something like that to happen, John.
Definitely feel for the boy. But we've still got a race on here. Damien Johnstone under a lot of pressure from Thomas Freeman. Freeman's still tucked up on. He's not going to make a move here. Yep, net code. On the button straight away, Mark.
Yeah, no, it kind of makes you wish there was contact when you're the driver, because when you get punted from a netcode incident like that, it's really, really frustrating, because it's something that doesn't necessarily need to happen. And iRacing doing iRacing things there, unfortunately for Blake.
Yeah, of course, at the time when it does happen as the driver, you don't realise it's netcode either, so...
No, absolutely not. It feels like you have been hit, and you've got no idea that there was netcode. So, but there was still quite a bit of gap in that one, so which is really disappointing.
A little battle here, back with the Super 2 boys with Mesamo and Borella. Mesamo getting past. Blanchard tucked up in 20th, Mulford 21st, Rage in this battle as well. In 22nd in the Supercheap retro livery. And it's going to jump back up with Tom Freer. There we go. Brian Borg's shifter broke. That's what happened.
It's bad luck, Brian. You're doing a great job tonight, and deserved something more than that. So, sorry to hear that, Brian. And hopefully we see you back on track ASAP.
That was shaping up to be an epic finish. Anyway, not to be. Still a lot more twists and turns to go in this race.
Yeah, 10 to go here tonight, and we've got Adam Briggs has been a little bit of a quiet achiever tonight. He's just snuck his way into the top 3 now with the misfortunes of various drivers, and we've got Cam Jones in 4th, and then Tom Freer, the big mover, up. I think it's about 13 spots. Yeah, so that's a pretty big effort there from Tom, but probably what we see most weeks from him, to be honest.
Yeah, you always wonder what could have been if he was further up the grid. See Briggs here starting to drop away a little bit. Jump on with Tom. Tom's now starting to put a fair bit of pressure on Jones. Definitely. Oh no! Oh, he caught it. Lost a little bit of pace. It's going to open the door for Johnstone. That was a great save from Tom Freer.
I really expected that to go pear-shaped very quickly, but he gathered that up like a cat jumping off a roof. He landed on his feet somehow.
Yeah, I was just thinking that commentator's curse struck again. But good little battle with these 3. Of course, Thomas Freeman sitting at the back of this. We know Thomas has got a bit of pace about him. The Fishy Motorsport boys trying to get themselves further up the line here. Of course, the man tucked behind is our Super 2 leader, Christian Smart. This battle in the top 10's fired up again.
Yeah, Christian doing a great job. Another one doing a good job is Jamie Dyke. He's come back to racing this season after a very long time out of the rig, and yeah, I was surprised actually here at the start of the broadcast John, to say Jamie was in 10th spot in the championship. So just goes to show you how well he's actually managed to get back into the sim and into iRacing again, and certainly gathering speed every race he comes out with us. So good to see Jamie managing his season come back nicely.
Yeah, definitely doing really, really well at the moment. And of course, you've got these three battling in front of him, so anything can happen here. Oh, a little bit slidey there from Damien Johnstone behind Freo. Allowing Dotto a little bit for Freeman. M. Jones comfortably still in fourth.
Another one of the Fishy boys doing an epic job is Dave Coleman, up 14 spots for the night. So yeah, shout out to Dave. He's our head race control steward in the V8 Veteran Series, and out there tonight doing an excellent job for the Fishy team.
Yeah, doing really well. Okay, being in charge of 140 drivers is not an easy gig, I'll admit that much. But doing really well. He's sitting second in the Super 2 boys with Wayne Sheedy behind him in third. But no, Dave doing really well. A little bit of that alternate strategy as well. I'll jump back on with Tom. This is where this battle is at the moment, with Johnstone tucked behind and Freeman. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. Nicely tucked up behind. Of course, these laps are starting to tick down as well, so if he's going to make a move, he's got to start planning it, particularly if he thinks he can get up past Freer as well. Stages.
Yeah, only 7.5 laps to go, so there's not a whole lot of time to get it done now.
Have a bit of a look. Can't get it done. Tucks in. Oh, very close to making contact. Very difficult.
Sure Thomas, yeah, I'm sure Thomas would tell us he was always under control there.
Coming up the hill, down in through Harry Downs.
All these drivers got exceptional skill in these cars, and yeah, it's been actually quite a nice race to watch tonight. Plenty of passing, lots of close panel to panel racing. Nobody being punted anywhere, and the only one that's probably suffered a bit of a blow was Blake Warboys, and there wasn't actually any contact. So yeah, Blake could probably feel a little hard done by tonight.
Definitely been some good hard racing as well. Plenty of times I've seen cars 2 or 3 wide.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been some awesome racing tonight. Cam Jones on that lap made a slight mistake coming down on the exit onto the back straight there, and it's opened the door for Tom Freer to really close that gap on him, because he had about 4/10 of a second, and now it's down to about a tenth. So
This pack definitely working very hard now. What can Freer do on Jones? Talk about him having pace. We talk about him being consistent in that top 10, sitting in 4th. This is a time where he's got to use that consistency and that pace we've been seeing, be able to defend and not lose too much more and open the door up to the other boys around him. Got a wheel off there from Freo. Sucks back in. And Freo goes deep, opens the door up for Johnstone. Does Freeman get in there? Johnstone's getting the 2 for 1. Gets it done. Damien Johnstone moves into 4th. It's Energy Sim Racing taking the top 4 spots now. Bit of light flashing from Tom Freo. Thomas Freeman sitting behind, probably going, these boys are going to take each other out. You can see that next pack with Christian Smart starting to catch these boys now.
Yeah, Damien Johnson there rubbed his hands together and said, "Thank you, boys." We've seen a couple tonight where they've got 2 for 1.
Yeah, and he's going. He's running away with it now. It's got that gap out there of half a second. This is where Jones, Freo and Freeman need to work together now. Try and get onto the back of Johnstone again.
We've seen a few times tonight, John, where a driver has made just the slightest of mistakes and it's just cost them position after position, and that's the nature of this track, is that being so high speed, and when you've got drivers so closely matched and in tight battles, that you only have to make a slight mistake on an exit and then you just lose that momentum, and all of a sudden you're just being swamped.
It's just there, like you said, it only takes that slight mistake. It just shows the standard of driving we're seeing here tonight. You know, these boys here are all now on their ragged edge. Tyres are getting old, fuel's getting light. Racing here, they've only got 6 laps to go. And not much left in this. I don't think we're going to, last time we're going to see some moves out of these boys. Free defending Freeman. Very deceptive entry into that corner as well, because the track sort of slightly deviates left. Can see Christian Smart starting to slowly crawl to the back of this group. Being the leader of the Super 2s with 3 cars in between him and Coleman. Probably fancies himself a couple of more positions, but probably doesn't want to risk the biscuit. A tough situation to be in if you're Christian Smart at the moment.
Yeah, I think Christian's just a racer. He'll just give it everything until there's nothing left to give. That's the way
he drives.
Christian races. Yeah, he's super competitive. You know, like he's a good racer. He's a smart racer, but he's super competitive, and he'll just keep going until there's nothing left to give.
It looks like Johnstone is a fraction wide there. It's allowed Jones to tuck up behind. British Borella off the track further back, so I'm not sure. Looks like he got himself going.
Cam Jones, massive draft here at the moment. Johnson just placed the car in the middle of the track.
Beautifully done by Johnson. Of course, this is dragging Freeman along. I've managed to stretch a little bit on Smart that last couple of moves. Just going to quickly jump up the road. James Scott still half a second ahead of Jordan Ross. These boys are now 3 seconds up the road from Adam Briggs, who's 3 seconds up the road from the battle we've been watching with Damien Johnstone, who's under a lot of pressure from Cam Jones. Going to go too wide down the end of the Marseille Straight.
Now Jones has got to defend from Freo. Oh, Thomas Freeman up the inside of Freo as well.
They're going to get it done back there? No. Definitely all to play for. That gap to Smart's closed back down to a second again. And under a second. So as soon as these boys battle, they're bringing that group behind back to them. With Briggsy 3.5 seconds up the road, I can't see them chasing that battle down. Remaining time.
Cam Jones runs wide again, but he's gathered it back up.
And we're going to see him move from Freeman this time. Brea heavily defending. That pressure back behind with Freeman here is immense. Let's see what we can do this time. Can he get the draft coming up the hill? See Freo putting the car towards the middle of the track at this stage. Here comes Freeman, hasn't got the legs to get there. Tucks in behind. Need to get a super exit out of turn 3 here to get their legs down the Marseille straight. Sweep, sorry.
I mean, can Tom Frere and Thomas Freeman make it any harder on the commentators to get them names right?
Oh no. There's Freo heading in. He's going to hold on to this one here. We can see the boys in front of him. A little bit of a lock up from John Stone. And of course Cam Jones shows the nose, backs it away. A little bit sideways from Jones. Opens the door up again.
Bit of drift action there from Cam, which really makes him vulnerable now to Tom Frere.
Yeah, tucked up behind. This is a great little fighting battle to the end here. You can see the other group behind him as well.
Yeah, the tyres really don't like that constant sideways propulsion on them, and that would really be hurting Cam for the next half a lap. He's just got to really square the car up now and make sure he doesn't put any more torture into them tyres, because they've already done a fair amount of work.
Oh, absolutely. You can see Freo stays in the middle of the track. Freeman having a look this time. Can he get it pulled up? Beautiful move. Into
Cam Jones runs right.
Oh no! And of course that pack behind, that's going to really hurt. So a little bit of contact there as well.
That's what I was saying, the tyres take so long to recover after getting sideways for such a long time like Cam did, and he really suffered on the exit of the corner down there at Canada.
Just going to have a quick look at the replay. Let's make sure nothing else was in that. And yeah, he's just cooked it himself. Like you're saying, and then swirly. Back to live pictures real quick. It's Freo and Freeman are side by side. Oh, coming down into turn 3. Tom Free manages to hang on. This battle's not over.
Well, these boys have traded places a couple of times in the last half a lap, and I don't think we've seen the end of it yet.
Of course, it's allowing Damien Johnstone to run away now. Here we go again. It's a big dive. Gets it done. The old undercut, then a bit of a tap. Remember what I was saying about bringing the other group through? Hello, Mr. Smart.
Yeah, Christian says thank you, but then he runs wide.
Opens the door on Jamie Dog to get past Christian. And was that a little bit of a redress there from Thomas? Still got a battle pack. Very entertaining. 3 laps to go.
None of these boys have really decided where they want to finish yet.
And poor old Cam Jones shuffled all the way back to 13th from that.
Yeah, Cam will be very disappointed, but I tell you, one person who's not disappointed, and that's Damien Johnson, because he has no pressure on him now.
Yep. Got clean air in front, clean air behind. Introduce a few others in this battle pack. That 9.5's Zach McDonald, one of their young guns. Tucked up behind Michael Whiting is in this, tucked up behind Smart, Dyke and Freeman and Freo. Whiting under a lot of pressure from McDonald. Guys, this is the settle our top 10. McDonald having a look here. 9.5 young gun, pokes it up the inside of the master. And Fishy, Big Fish himself, Michael Whiting under a lot of pressure here. And we can see Dave Coleman getting involved in this as well. Might say another thank you very much, close that gap down the Christian Smart. Out to go 3 wide.
Dave's thinking, I want this, but I don't want to give it all away.
A little bit loose and wide there from McDonald. So the old head prevails with Whiting. It looks like Coleman doesn't quite get, Coleman gets through as well. He's going to go back up the front with Tom Freo. Sitting in 5th now. Still got Freeman tucked up behind him. Still got Jamie Dyke part of this battle now.
Yeah, Jamie's done a great job tonight. Just chipped away all night. He's up 4 spots into 7th, and that'll do his championship no harm at all.
It definitely is starting to get towards the end of the race as well. 1.5 laps to go. Definitely keep an eye on the leaderboard with this group. Unless Freeman's going to get it done, he's going to have to do it as the last lap. Second last lap, sorry, penultimate lap. Some great battling going on here.
Yeah, Thomas has thrown everything at it. It's not from a lack of trying, that's for sure. And he's got one more lap to try and secure this P5. So keep an eye on that one. But James Scott has finally opened up a bit of a gap to Jordan Ross. It's taken him 43 laps to do that.
He's got that gap out. You see it there on paper and in the flesh. But James again shown his dominance over the series. Our current champion running the number 1. You'd have to be pretty happy with this race. I think major fuel saving there in that after that first stop, which we jumped on board and saw. Blake Warboys had jumped the boys. And then, of course, we had the safety car, the second safety car. The boys, everyone had bunched up. And then after the restart, Warboys getting a little bit loose coming out of the carousel. Gets a tank slapper, allows Scott and Ross past, and then has a run-in with... Not a run-in, a net code, sorry, I'll rephrase that better. A net code with Cam Jones going down into Canada, which sort of took Warboys out of the battle. I think Warboys is down in 21st at the moment. So yeah, very interesting night for James Scott. Of course, we had Brian Borg as well, who after the second round of stops, he jumped out in front, but had his shift to brake. So there's been a few questions asked, a few challenges asked, but the consistency of James Scott has come through to the top again. As we're going to have a 3-peat on the podium from Synergy Sim Racing. As James Scott comes up under Barney, takes the flag to win from Jordan Ross, going to jump back to Tom Freo. He looks like he's going to get the job done side by side, not much in this. Oh, Tom Freo's got him, I think.
Yeah, got him in the end. Christian Smart was able to get past Jamie Dyke on that last lap as well. So Christian up into 7th spot, which is a great drive. Dave Coleman up 16 spots. Absolutely
Cracking
great drive. Yeah, cracking drive from Dave to get into the top 10. Well done. Craig Schultz as well from 9.5. Great comeback to get to 14th after being last on the opening lap after contact. I think it was with Sean Rigby. So it's solid effort there from Craig to come back. Anthony Visma 15th. Great drive from him as well. That was a really enjoyable race, John.
It was. That was a cracker. Just like Thomas Freer and Tom Freeman, though. We're talking 100ths, nearly 200ths of a second between them. Not even a blink of an eyelid in the end. After 44 laps around this place, 280 Ks, that is a cracking effort. Hats off to these boys. These boys have put on a show tonight.
Really
And just some exceptional driving. Some exceptional skills we've seen tonight. Hats off to all these boys.
Yeah, absolutely, John. There was hardly any contact in the racing, and what we saw tonight was not only great sportsmanship and great racing, but the only people that got hurt was when people hurt themselves, and that was because of the relentless pressure we saw from every driver putting on each other. So yeah, really enjoyable race tonight, and congratulations to the whole field, and especially James Scott, of course. You know, like, he's the race winner again, pole position, but I thought the whole field really turned it on for us tonight.
Yeah, very impressed with how these boys have all raced. Might just have a quick look at one or two incidences. I'm just trying to see. There was one I thought I'd go back to. Josh Strage and Dave Kirby. Not sure what happened here with these two. Not even these two. So Strage by himself, Kirby by himself in a different spot on the track. So a few little things happening around the place. But that is our race, really. Done by James Scott.
Yep, and shout out to Adam Briggs as well. I think did he finish on the podium last week as well?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, so great return to form. He's actually been driving well all season. He just hasn't had much luck at all, but good to see him pick up 2 podiums in a row. And yeah, like, hard luck for Cam Jones. He probably will walk away probably one of the most disappointed tonight, other than Brian Borg. But yeah, the other boys, you really turned it on for us. So a shame for a couple of drivers, but in the end, it was a great, entertaining battle from P1 all the way down to last place.
Yeah, definitely got a feel for Cam Jones. But as we said, he's had that consistency, he's had that pace. And there was relentless pressure tonight from everybody on track. And that's what really puts the pressure on everybody. We might drag in and have a chat to James and have a chat to Jordan. I'm sure Briggsy will join us. James Scott, number 1 again, mate. Exceptional drive.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty tough track. It's a bit like Monza, to be honest. Lots of drafting. Probably worth best part of half a second or what. So yeah, tough race. Never really got to break that sort of 2-second-ish barrier for the draft, and see sort of what our pace was compared to the others, if they didn't have draft or not. But yeah, really tough race. Eyes forward at the end there, just trying to go as fast as I could, trying to keep Jordan behind.
So, Augie, with that interesting strategy before his shifter broke, you a little bit concerned that he had something up his sleeve, or?
No, definitely not. With the safety car that early, I knew that he was already a good few seconds behind, and for him to come out a good few seconds ahead of me, it was impossible for him to save that much fuel or whatever else.
Yep.
So I knew he short filled, and I knew also we had pace on him, so there wasn't too much concern there. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I got past him nice and cleanly.
Yeah.
And I guess, unfortunately for him, he made it pretty easy for me, bowling a bit of a wide, but yeah, all good.
All good. And Mr. Ross, P2 again.
I know. I told you we need to just ban James.
Oh, I believe James has got another week or 2 off for a holiday coming up, hasn't he?
Oh, well, that's good.
We'll have to cut it short, I think.
You only need one. Of course, with James missing the other week.
Where you going, James? We might need like a volcano or something to go off.
No volcanoes in Australia, mate.
So Jordan, that was an interesting race, a tough one for you, mate, particularly in that first stint where you sort of dropped off that battling group at the front with Jordan and Blake. You seemed to close that gap down. I think the boys in front were doing a bit of fuel saving. Your tyres seemed to hold up. Like I think there was one stage when the three years got together there. Mark was saying that you looked the most stable on track.
Yeah, the car was mega. So yeah, well done to the guys making the set. The car was unreal. So can't wait to come back here for Pro Series.
Yeah, of course, that's coming up after the two enduro rounds. So yeah, definitely interesting to see how all these boys go for the pace you've all shown tonight. And Briggsy, you're starting to make this a regular thing, mate.
Oh yeah, I mean someone's got to fill out the podium, haven't they? Yeah, I spent the entire night having a wobble and bowling myself off the track, and then I eventually got my act together and started driving nice towards the end. So yeah, no, Road America always has good racing because the draft in these supercars is probably a little bit overpowered. So it holds the racing together, if that makes sense. So
it definitely does.
Yeah.
Do you have any more analysis on that, Briggsy? Can you expand on that?
Oh, mate, I could defrag a mega bit all day long, but I think we'll leave it there. But yeah, no, the supercars draft is probably a bit over the top.
Just got to say though too, there was a couple of times there where you were sort of involved in 2 and 3 wide battles, and you all sort of managed to keep yourselves clean and get around a few corners side by side together, which was very impressive to watch.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have a result, first you got to finish. So I think some blokes forget that there's probably a corner after the next one sometimes. But anyway, yeah, no, it was a good race, good fun. Road America always is usually. So yeah, enjoyed it.
Looking forward to seeing what we can do again as we sort of approach the next round, which will be coming up, and that's basically Barcelona. I think we're running the historic circuit there as well, which will be a bit of fun for everybody.
Yeah, historic's pretty much the only circuit worth doing there. Yeah, it's a good track, good European track, so it's good fun.
Very technical.
What's the track? What track are we off to?
Barcelona.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember the last time I drove.
Is James going to be away that week? Where's James?
No, man. Is that next week or
next
we've
week,
got a week
next
off?
Week,
or?
next week. Next week.
Nah, I should be here, but I can't remember the last time I've driven there.
I think
never ever gets used. I think the last time I drove there was in a GD car. So
yeah, and I think the last multiple times people have used it too. They've done the silly chicane as well. So, and I think taking the chicane out and running the historic layout, you sort of get that better flow through the final 2 corners and onto the straight.
Unlucky for Blake tonight, he did a mega job. He just got that curb on the inside and
then Netco down in Canada. So yeah, very unlucky.
But he was going good.
Yeah, it was a good drive from him. I think a little bit of form. I think he did well in the AAG round last night and relatively well at SAW Sunday night. So he's definitely starting to get a bit of form back. As we sort of wrap this one up, I'm going to probably let you did it last week, didn't you, Briggsy? We'll go back to Jordan. Do the team shout out.
Boss can do. Yeah.
So I'm wrapping it up?
Yep.
All right, guys. Good night. See ya.
Guys, big thank you to Watercraft Performance, Parramatta Isuzu Utes, West End.
Thanks to you guys for putting it all on and everyone behind the scenes. I know how hard it is to put all these things on. So, and thanks, James, for taking a holiday later on in the season. And thanks, Briggs, for expanding and really explaining everything tonight.
Yeah, someone's gotta make it boring. So, but yeah, no, Dr. Epoxy too. We like Dr. Epoxy.
Yep, Dr. Epoxy. Can't forget him. Of course, Raceworks as
thanks,
well.
Guys.
No worries. On that note, we'll wrap it up, Mark, unless you've got something you want to ask or.
No, just thank you to the boys. They turned on a great show tonight. It was a really enjoyable race to commentate and watch, and I thought the racing was exceptional, and look forward to Barcelona next week.
Yeah, look forward to it as well. Big thank you to everybody out in the chat, chatting along, and of course a huge thank you to Race Control, Race Admin, and I say it every week to you boys, the drivers. You turn it on, make it's pretty special for us to do watching. So that tonight was really entertaining, and hopefully everyone can come back next week. We'll do it all again at Barcelona. Night all.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. Some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name.